that's our goal, is to make sure that our knowledge transfer to you, or to tell you some ideas that you can take and hopefully be glad that you came tonight, because it's, like I said, always something to do. Tell you briefly what we do. We are certified medical development specialists. What that means is we have gone through a certification process where we can do advertising, we can do marketing, we can do practice development. There's a whole myriad of things certified by Horn LLP of what we do, how we do it, and it's a very unique process. We've been doing this since 1993. All that means, all that aside is our one goal, and what we do with our clients is to help them make more money. There's plenty of other people to do the coding and the collections and all of those things. Our sole focus is on developing ways to help you make more money and doing what you like to do, okay? And that's, again, we're a little bit unique. There aren't very many of us around. Usually there's an agency here that is kind of spread out. But we've been doing this very successfully for a number of years. And when we first started, thought our clients would be, for a set period of time, but luckily they've ended up keeping us for 10 years plus. Our average client's 10 years plus. That's because we keep making them money. It's simple as that. So what I'm going to try to do today, this is a workshop, which therefore your workbook is in front of you. There will be no test at the end. And we went and bought a video camera because we didn't have one, and what we wanted to do, we know everybody's busy. You probably have 10,000 things on your mind. If I can take you through this workbook and help you understand kind of the methodology that we use, the formulas are there. And also, if maybe you don't get something and you have to leave, we'll try to answer any questions that you have. But if you want to get it later or give it to your administrator or someone else in your office to try to understand what we do, how we do it, and how you can make money doing it, we'll send you a CD, okay? So try to relax, and I'm going to try to get 18 years worth of stuff into 30 minutes so you can go home and enjoy the rest of your evening. Now I put this up here. Why should you pay attention to what we're going to say? Because it means a lot of money, real money. This is not money that you already have made somewhere and someone has collected for you. This is new money, new money. And the formula that we're going to use in our workbook is basically this. If you can grow your practice by 1/4% per month, doesn't sound like much, does it? The formulas, the spreadsheets in the book, 1/4% per month compounded on $1 million, because some practices are 1, some are 20, some are 40. Per $1 million in 60 months is that much money. That almost sounds unbelievable, I know, but it's true. I don't know how to use spreadsheets, so we had a CPA do this for us. 1/4% compounded monthly increase, 60 months on $1 million is that 40% increase. So that's why we focus on this, and that's why our clients like to hear what we have to say. We're going to take you through today, and you see in the book the discussion sequence that we're going to go through. And I've just explained to you what the numbers are, and they're substantial. Usually we do far more than that, but we don't want to say, oh, you can grow your revenue increase by 5% and then you're only at 3%. We don't want to disappoint anybody. This is an extremely low number, and you'll see when we're through how that works out. So what I put on the worksheet on page 1 after the table of contents is the formula that I just mentioned to you, and you can figure out in your own practice what the dollars really mean. Instead of just 400,000, it may be $4 million. I don't know, but if you put the numbers in, $1 million collected, bill doesn't really matter at all. Collected at a 0.25% increase is $400,000 over the period of 60 months. That's what your spreadsheet. But I left it like this so that you can put your number in there, and it will matter on your gains. Okay, typically, we're going to try to break that down. How do we do this? Typically, when you think about making more money in your practice, there's only 3 ways to do it. Either you see more patients, you charge more for what you do, like that's going to happen. Or you can be involved in ancillary services, you know, buy an MRI to do them yourselves, to do all kinds of things that, you know, people are trying to figure out ways to just pay the bills and maybe make some extra money. Even on the last one I put on here, you know, buy a restaurant, you know, so anything to make extra money. But really, that's the only ways that we know that physicians, without going outside their normal realm, will make more money, see more patients, charge more for what you do, or do something that brings in revenue. There's something that we're going to go through in the workbook that you may or may not have done this in your practice. We find very few practices that have, but it's critical when we put all this formula together. Does anybody in here know, this is not a trick question, I'm not expecting you to, if you do I'll fall down. Does anyone here know what an average patient is worth to your practice, dollar-wise? Wouldn't you think that'd be a good thing to know? You know, it's kind of amazing that in business, they break it down into units. They know if they sell a Coca-Cola, how much percentage. They know everything about that. They know who bought it, what they look like, what they drive. They know everything, but in medicine, we don't do that because we're patient-oriented. We solve problems. So we have to take a step back and say, okay, every time we turn around, somebody's trying to get money from us. We're getting paid less for our services. It's just not like it used to be, and it's an extreme struggle right now to make money. But we're going to show you how to make more money, but we have to know what a patient is worth to you. Everybody's going to be different. There's a formula on page 3, and I'll kind of go over that, what that means. I've got it on here too, but it's on the board. Okay. If you take the dollars, whatever the number is for either your individual practice or for you, the dollars collected in a year, say it's $1 million. We're going to use the $1 million just for a baseline. You take $1 million and you see, now how many patients did I see last year, 2010? Not one patient 12 times, but how many individual patient ID numbers? You take that number and then you divide it into the dollars that you're collected. Again, it's on the worksheet, and I left a spot so you can put your numbers. Now, this is not an exact science because you probably turned through your charts for a month to figure out how many patients really did you see. Ballpark, we can estimate this and still be very close to the numbers. Saw this, bill this many dollars, saw this many individual patients. So then you take A, the dollars collected, divided by B, number of patients that you saw, and then you multiply that out 5 years. That means I'm going to keep an average patient about 5 years. That's the MGMA standard. Of course, if you're like a foot doctor, you're going to see them one time. If you're an OBGYN, you may see them 40 years. So the myriad is just all over the board of how long do you keep a pediatrician, probably 15, 16, 17 years average, if they catch them when they're first born. So, but we're going to just go 5 years because that's what MGMA says the standard when you use calculations. We're going to use their standard. So if you take A, divide it by B, multiply it out times 5, that's going to give you an average value of each patient that comes in your office. Kind of a unique way of looking at it, but you really need to know that. Not just because of the things we're going to tell you about how to gain patients, but what if someone gets upset and leaves? Well, that's X number of dollars walking out the door. You need to know that. Or if you're finished seeing a patient, that money falls off the chart, so you need a new patient to replace it to keep even the same. So that number is critical. And like I said, I rarely find that anyone knows that number. But if we take an average $1 million billing, average number of patients, and over the years we've seen that this is a pretty good number. If you want to figure all this out, you can say $2,500. $2,500 is what an average patient is worth. Again, if it's a cancer patient, they're going to be worth $17,735. If they're a podiatrist, $50. So it's across the board, but MGMA uses the standard of $2,500 for their calculations, so that's what we'll use, okay? So that's going to tell you what your average patient value is in your practice. We're going to use $2,500 for our presentation workshop. Again, going back to the increase, increasing it by 0.25% per $1 million collected. How many patients do you need to make that number? If you divide those numbers out, I think we have it on the next page. That's only 2.67 new patients per month. That doesn't hardly sound right, does it? If you get 2.6 patients per month, you're going to get $400,700 in 60 months. It's almost unbelievable, but the numbers don't lie, and we have found it to be true for many, many years. So per million, it's going to increase by the number. But what I'm saying is you don't have to have a $10,000, $20,000, $100,000 marketing campaign to get you new patients and make large sums of money. It's the little increases consistently that will give you that much money. Does that sound too crazy for anybody? I mean, y'all ever heard anything like this before, that you get 3 patients a month, you get $500,000? You wouldn't think about it, would you? Because we're patient oriented, but it's true. So again, on your worksheets on page 4, your number will be based on what you bill by the number of patients with that formula. So you can see how many patients you'll need. But like I said, the higher the specialty, the less number of patients. If it's because most are worth more than $2,500. Again, another factor. Okay, now we know how much a patient's worth to the practice, and we know that a 0.25% increase of that number of patients is going to give us close to $500,000 increase. There's some other things we need to know. On the following pages, and all of this, you can do this. I mean, this, you don't have to have a CPA. You can get with your administrator or some people in there, or you may know it already. It may be in your head. There's 3 types of patients that you have. You have new patients, never been there before. You have repeat patients, someone who's been in the office and is returning for a visit. And then you have referrals. Someone sent that patient to you. We call that the treasury, because they didn't cost anything, really. Now, new patients, we all know about that. We see advertisements. We see advertisements and things in the paper to attract new patients. New patients usually cost money. You can actually figure that out. We're not going to go into that one and really confuse the issue with the formula. There's a formula for that. How much does a new patient cost me? And you just take the number that you spend by the number you pay. Different deal. But they do cost money in many cases. However, a referral will send you these free. So that's what we want to focus on. And so on the next page in your books, we're going to talk about where's the chart? Did I go backwards, Kenny?
Yeah, flip back to the one right before that. One more.
Okay, let's get one. Now this is just, again, something else that you can do in your office. Oh, wait a minute. Keep going. We need to take a look at.
Flip back 2 charts, maybe 3. It's at the very.
Notice we've never given this talk before. This is what we do in back rooms. Okay, so we had this drawn up. Okay, there's your how many patients per month. I want to get into the time analysis.
I think that was your analysis.
Oh yeah, it's at the bottom.
Okay, yeah.
I'm sorry.
At the bottom.
I said, forgive me, we don't do this talk. It's a workshop that a week ago, this book did not exist. We put this together for you guys. Okay. In your books, you'll see pie charts. This is some more information that you need to know. Again, it all kind of fits together, and we'll tell you that at the summary. And it's always good to know this. where do your patients come from now? And we've given you an example chart there of possibly where they've come from. These are real numbers from a real practice. Can't say who, but that's the numbers that we figured out where their patients came from as far as they knew. It's not an exact science, but best guesstimate, that's where they came from. So on your chart, if you can do that, again, it will fit into the formula. And the reason being is where if it is other physician referrals, which is the biggest part of a chart, well, gee, I wonder where I should spend my attention on shoring that up and developing that. Again, we're only after about 3 patients a month to make that $500,000. Where do the patients come from? And then on the next page, you'll see, okay, of an average day, where do I spend my time? Certain percent in the hospital, certain percent office visits, certain time collections, whatever it is that you do during the day, it's good to chart that out. Again, this all fits together, but your chart will be different than the one that we have in the book, but that was for an example. Where do I spend my time? And the third thing is that you need to know is of the things that I'm doing during the daytime, which ones do I think make me the most money? Which they're going to be obvious ones to you. That will probably be the easiest chart for you to fill out. You do, again, we've given you an example. Usually procedures and things like that are obviously going to be of higher value for your collections and billing than just talking to someone, calling someone back on the phone. So again, you can fill the chart out, and this will help you when we're after this. Knowing where your patients come from, what I'm doing that makes me the most money, etc. Obviously, the reason is there's only so many patients you can see in a day. If you're full, and you say, Alan, you're saying that you want me to add 3 new patients a week to make these numbers. What I'm saying is if you're going to attract new patients, attract good paying ones. Less time, more money. They're going to be coming anyway. If you're doing a good job, if you're a good physician, they're going to come. We can accelerate that by doing the things that we're going to show you, and we're going to give you some examples of how to actually attract the patients. That makes sense, though, right? I want to see good paying patients. And we don't want to bust Medicare. No offense to Medicare, everybody. I'm glad it's here, but can't pay the bills that way. So we're going to attract good paying patients, and you don't have to attract many of them to make huge amounts of money. Okay, so we've got the 3 types of patients. We've done the analysis of what I do, during the day. We've talked about this being the biggie, that they're free and they create the others. And so when you look at your charts on the referrals to see where they come from, obviously that's where you want to shore up the main efforts. And again, not big efforts, not huge agency campaigns. It's not necessary. It's little things, smart things that make the difference. So let's talk about the different kinds, about new patient attraction. We saw that, you can do it that way. One way to do it that doesn't cost a lot of money, we brought a few small examples, is this is nothing that you haven't heard before. People want to, when you have to go to the doctor too, who do you want? I want the best. I want the authority. I want the best. And someone that's nice to me. It's not rocket science, right? That's who we want. We all want that. We all have to go to the doctor. So one thing that you can do to attract new patients is become the authority. So when, because somebody will ask you, well, what about this particular? Oh, I know so-and-so, and I saw an article in the paper, they wrote a topic about that. It's that quick, instant thought, they're the ones. And here's a good way to do it. You may already be doing some of this stuff. It's easy, and it's not free, but it's close, and it can be free. Because if you will send these in to the paper, they'll publish them. Because if any of you have any dealings with the newspapers, they're just dying for stuff to put in there. I mean, They want the good stuff. And if you give them something like that, it's free. So, like I said, somebody says, what was the topic? Gastroenterology. Somebody has a question, maybe you read that. She asked you about it. You tell her what was in the article. Well, where'd you see that? I saw that in the paper. And I saw the doctor's name in there. And you're going to tell her. Instant referral. Free. Again, we only have to get 3 a month to make that number. Can you see how little this happens? I mean, it happens in the Academy of Medicine all day long. It happens with us all day long. It happens with you all day long. Aunt Susie's got a bad knee. Who's good? You tell them. Because you think that they're the best. And we want people that we recommend to have a good experience. So, referrals, the Holy Grail. That's just, can't beat it. And the price is right. The repeat patients, again, another, we have to have those to keep our numbers up. There's ways to keep them. Obviously, make sure that they feel good about the experience that they have in the practice, that no one was rude to them, they were treated with love and kindness, and hopefully they had a good experience with you folks. So we make sure that that's good, and one way to do that, other than answering the phone calls, well, here's one other one too. If you're a pediatrician, this will hit home to you. I'm backtrack just a little bit. Again, becoming the authority, making it easy for people to make the decision to come and see you. Okay, running out of time. This article was written by one of our physicians, and we put this in the hospital. They have to make a decision on the pediatrician before they can take the baby home. So they go to do baby classes, and there's all kind of information in there, and that is in the packet. Free. They're the authority. Guess who gets a lot of babies? That guy. Okay, referrals. I mean, we go over this very quickly. I don't want to run y'all over 30 minutes if I can. I'm talking fast. Again, making sure they had a good experience. Now, you may be doing these already. In fact, more and more people have gotten onto this trick of doing customer satisfaction surveys. I don't mind them if they take about 3 minutes, but when they take 20 minutes, I won't fill them out. Now, on these, we have information that our client wants to know. But the thing about customer satisfaction surveys with physicians is if you tell them it's from you, they won't fill it out. Because if they see, if something went wrong the next time they see you and you've read a survey, well, I hate this physician, or they did wrong or whatever, they won't fill it out. Don't put your name on it. But we know where those came from because I think it's on the back corner. Somewhere on that form is a dot or a square or a asterisk, and we know that those came from Dr. Rubel. So we send them out with no name on them of which doctor it is, just from the group, in a self-addressed, stamped envelope with a letter saying thank you for taking time to do this. We get good results. Okay. Here's another good one. Again, easy is our friend. People will send if it's easy. Referral desks, sometimes, which are getting more common, doctors don't have time to make the phone call or make the recommendation, so they give it to the nurse, and sometimes the nurse has a referral desk, and it's Billy and Susie who makes that referral over to you. So easy is our friend. Easy and good and safe. Now for the physicians, when we take these to the physicians, and if you need to talk to another physician, you don't want to go through the switchboard. You want their cell number, fever number, whatever. How to get in touch with them. We just hand these out and say, we appreciate your business, and we just want to give you this. This is not for public information, but we want to give you this so you'll have this if you need it. And they keep these things. I mean, not salesy looking at all. They never throw these things away. One more easy. Okay, back to Billy and Susie or whomever. Maybe the physician, could be the nurse. But anyway, sometimes it's hard to call in, get the referral punch, 1 for English, 2 for... So whoever's doing it is already overwhelmed. So we've made it easy. Again, easy is our friend. We take these, we call them fact sheets. Name of your group, doctors, the name of the patient, phone number, and what would you like for us to do, or just an office visit. Please fax the insurance information, put the fax number on it, send it in. Well, Billy, Susie, or whomever, we put these in pads of 50 with a little cardboard back on them, and we deliver them to the referring physicians and say, we appreciate your business, we think this will help make things easier for you. And it really does. And because they're in pads of 50, they don't throw them away. They're glued. I mean, they're official. Somebody decided this is the form. These things, again, we only need 3 patients a month. We put these in pads of 50 and deliver them like hotcakes. Y'all can do this too, or some variation of this. It's probably one of the best things we ever came up with. And it wasn't because we're genius. We asked them, I said, how would it be easier for us to send our patient? Well, if we had some kind of form, we could just put their name in it. If y'all could make the appointment for us, that would really be great. Okay, we'll do that. I think I'll get it. 2 more examples, then I'll answer some questions, and we'll summarize the formula. Okay, we have a group. We have permission to use these, by the way. We have it's a pulmonary group. And I like to say we're smarter than we are. We just ask a lot of questions. They give us good answers. How can we make it easier? What do you like about our physicians? What could we do to make it easier and better for you to send to our physicians? And they'll just tell you. They'll just tell you. I was down in the, what I call the bowels of the hospital, and we have a pulmonary group. And y'all know all about that. Pulmonary doctors are the ones that keep you alive in ICU and neuro and cardiac and everything else. They keep you alive where all the specialists can work on you. Well, the problem is when someone codes or has a problem, they need to call the pulmonologist first. Keep them alive till we can find out what's going on. Well, it was hard. It was hard to find their number. One, did they know one? There was no set procedures to calling them. They just, who's on call? Where are they? Anybody got a beeper number? So what we did, we asked the pulmonologist to give us a published schedule of who was on call. And we take those to about 40 different departments in the hospital and have taken them there for 15 years. They're on the wall with a little push pin every month. We show up. We're like the mailman. Hi, where's my call sheet? And then they post it. But the thing is, every time they need a pulmonologist, who do they call? They call in. Easy. See, that doesn't cost a lot of money, does it? Here's the last thing on the examples. I've only had one of these, but I'm just going to bring it around and show it to you. This was one, as I roamed around in the bowels of the hospital, and I asked we had a cardiology group, and I said, and we weren't the big ones, and I said, how do you decide who to send to? They said, well, whoever's on call or whoever we know or whatever. I said, what else is going on? I mean, what else happens? They said, if we had a way to get their current medical records and perhaps their medicines, the latest EKG, we could begin aggressive treatment quicker, but we have to wait. So I said, well, I think we can fix that. So we designed this little card, and we give that to the patients. It's got their name on it, and they love it because it's got their blood type and all that stuff on it. They carry it in their wallet. And this one doesn't have it, but on the back side, we take a regular standard EKG, put it on the fax machine, reduce 3 times, tape it to the back, put it in a pocket, we got laminated. And they carry this thing, and they show it to everybody. So, but the truth, other than it's neat and you've got an instant referral and everybody wants one, the good news is when they do go to the ER, they ask for this card. They know our doctors, patients have this card. Do you have one of those pocket EKGs? Well, yes, I do. And then they can begin treatment. So it's a double goodie. Okay. Take care of them. On the repeat visits, y'all know about this. Call them before, make sure they show up, give them reasons to come, offer them things, ancillary services that you haven't in the past. We talked about these ways of giving, making it easy. And some of these you probably already doing, hotline like that card, cell phones, those fact sheets that we showed you. Constant contact and appreciation. You'd be surprised how many offices that we visit that no one from the referring physicians ever come by. Found that hard to believe, but we go by and say, we appreciate you sending your patients to us. You know, it's important that we do a good job. Is there anything that we could do better? Have you had any problems at all? Sometimes we take them brownies too, but that, they like that better really than seeing us. But we get good information. If there was a problem, see, they would have fallen off of that referral list, and who knows why, they're gone. They're gone. This last one right here is kind of like the holy grail of repeat business, is your referral list. We always go in and we ask client, can you print off from your records the people who referred in? Remember where the patients come from? Sometimes they can, sometimes they can't. But if they can, that is a huge, huge advantage. You can look at your referral sheets. Either you really just want to look at yours. It's okay to look at the whole groups, but yours. Who is sending you patients? Where are they coming from? If the referral list is on there and you'll say, well, I know that they sent me, you're going to remember the ones who sent you 25, 30, 40. But what about those ones who sent you 1, 2? What's that all about? So those, if you can turn those into 10, 20, 30ers, really hit a home run. So there's some reason that they sent you one. So a little investigation. Was it by accident? Did they know you, or did they have a bad experience once they got here? Those are your real nuggets of gold. The low number of referrers. Obviously the big numbers, you have to take care of them because everybody's competing for your business. And that's why these other groups are running ads and doing all, they want your patients. So you're gonna hang on to them. All right, I know you're getting tired of me. We're trying to wind it up. All right, there's some things you just have to know. Now they have the formulas to figure it out for yourself. How much did I collect? You've got the sheet by 1/4%. If I can do this, what am I going to get at the end? You're going to get $400,000 per million collected. That's an easy number, and it's provable. It happens. Well, how do I do that? Well, you figure out where your most profitable activities are and where your patients come from and where you can mine other patients, and then you can plan for what you want to do. Again, small activities will give you huge results. And then the implementation of that strategy. I suggest that whatever you figure out from this that you want to do it for 6 months, a year, and you'll get those numbers. So, again, we're not making this stuff up. We've been doing it 18 years. And yes, we can do the ads and all that kind of stuff, but these things are the ones that really, really get you a lot of new patients. All right, well, I brought more examples than I thought. Same group, lung physicians. And asking the referring physicians in the hospital, said, is there anything that we could do to make things better for you? Well, we can get to a PF meter, but we don't really know what it means once we do the pulmonary function on them. I said, well, what if we had a chart that we could give you that would show you kind of what you're looking at so you'll know who to call? He said, that'd be great. And I forgot why they wanted a ruler, but they wanted a ruler. They never had a ruler on them. So we designed this card. I'm going to take it, just show it around. We put their name on it, put the PF functions on the back. It's got a ruler and other salesy stuff. Well, we give these to the physicians. And you're going to know we're scoundrels now. We measured the lab jacket. Guess what sticks up out of the pocket? All these doctors are walking around the hospital advertising that group. It's not that hard. Stuff is not that hard. And again, it's laminated, they're thrown away. It may end up in a book somewhere, never throw it away. Stuff that we talk about capturing the desktop with trinkets or keychains or whatever. Well, something on that desktop that will never go away, If it's plastic or it's laminated, it's going to stay. If it's paper, it's gone. So, again, these things are, I've run through this stuff very quickly, but I hope that you understand what the formula, what we're talking about. Small incremental growth in your patients. Picking the kind of patients that you want will make a huge, huge difference. If y'all already worked some of the numbers in your brain, you know, if I can grow 1/4 of 1%, that's going to mean X number of dollars. So how to do it. I mean, it's real. It works. Okay, run through it. Run out of breath. Questions?
I have one. Our patients come from referrals a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any legalities in, say, giving them, if we get a referral from somebody, a $10 gift card or something like that?
You have to be careful with that. There are, they've clamped down on Stark.
Yeah.
It falls under that. We had a group that ordered Starbucks cards to give to their patients, to give to another patient, you know, when they're telling them about us. And the lawyer went, I think I'd go there. Because they had just implemented a whole new set of, you know, that's the most hypocritical thing I've seen. You know, they can go on junkets in the jet to wherever they want to, but you can't give a $10 card away. But it is to be, you have to proceed with caution on that. It's a good idea, but you have to kind of watch it. You learn anything? I'm glad to see you shake your head, even though maybe you didn't. That makes me feel good about it. But again, the idea of this today, or tonight, was to tell you some things. You may have already known all of this, but you may not have thought it out. If you do this, then you do that, it means this. Now, how do I do that? First you do this, and then you do this, and you do that. Because usually the things that we get hit with is Cigna just reduced our contract by 3%. You know, or something like that. People taking money all the time. Well, we wanted to tell you something that would show you how to get more money without worrying about anybody else. This is you have control of your practice if you do this. And we've done this 18 years. It works. If you can just, like I said, you've got the formulas now. And like I said, if you have any trouble with them or I didn't explain them well, we'll have cards available. Kenny's going to have the CD of this, if not on YouTube, but we made a CD. So if there's someone else in your office you want to share this with, give them a workbook. We'll get you a CD. Okay? Any more questions?
I have a comment. We had an office that was sending us referrals for a new doctor that branched out on her own. And the one office was sending her quite a few referrals. They were our largest referring practice too.
Right.
I was like, Dr. Berger, you need to go over and visit them, take them breakfast, something from Panera Bread, just take them something. She went and visited them, took them a simple breakfast, probably cost $75 for the entire office.
Right.
Took 2 bottles of wine, one for each of the doctors, and the next week the referrals almost doubled from what they were saying. It's like now every patient they see, they refer them to us. It was just a simple going over there and doing the breakfast, and we need to work on the ones that are low referrals, but that was one that was already sending us most of our
Yeah,
business.
you absolutely have to take care of your high refers, and at Christmas they get the brownies and the honey baked ham and stuff, and by all means, that's exactly right. Even if they're already referring good, there may be physicians in that group that came after that started.
One week of the visit, we could immediately see an increase in referrals from them.
I can tell you this. We had a really brilliant CEO at a group, new guy. We've been doing this 10 years. Is what we do with this one particular group is we look at their referral list, and this physician says, I can't believe they're not sending me more. I went to school with them. You know, they live in my neighborhood, go to synagogue with them. You know, there's some reason, but they're not sending a lot of patients. Well, Kenny and I can't go over there and say, hey, what's up with that? You have to go in and say, we appreciate you sending us patients. We really thank you for that. And see if, is there anything that we can do to make it better? And if there's been a problem, 9 times out of 10 they'll tell you, yeah, last time I sent a patient over there, you kept the patient. You didn't send them back, which is, don't do that. Send them back. They'll send you more. But they're all worried about that now because patients, kind of hard to find, good paying ones anyway. So, but what we do is on this list, we look at that list. Again, we're not rocket scientists, but we figure out who should be sending more. A lot of times what we'll do is we'll call and do a appreciation lunch from that doctor to this referring group, even though they only sent 3 patients last year. It's not like, why didn't you send? We're saying thank you. Well, it's kind of like dominoes. Well, that one said, well, we must be sending a lot to this guy. He's bringing us lunch. So we go in and the doctor comes in. They bring them in. We bring the doctor in. They shake hands. They appreciate the business. Anything, can I ask any questions? And then they are gone. We don't want anybody standing around thinking, gee, I wish I had some patients to work on today. No. We want to come in, say thank you, appreciate it, and get out. And we take care of that, but the same thing happens. There was one doctor last year that went over the list with us. Again, this didn't cost anything extra. Got 158 new patients. Now, this is an oncology group. $17,000 times 158. A lot of new money we probably spent an average $85 on lunch for the staff. Unbelievable return on investment. It's little stuff like that. So you're right on target. You look like you're going to ask a question. And for people that are new in the community, new doctors that are coming into an established group or trying to establish a practice, that's a great way to do it. Is you don't want to go, hi, I'm so-and-so, and just introduce yourself. Because it's hard to do. It's kind of, I don't know, it's just kind of embarrassing for you. It's hard. I'm going to get out of the car and I'm going to go out of the office and stick my hand out and shake it. Well, you can send a representative over there or send something over there and say, appreciate the patients you've been sending me. And that's a good way to do it. And if they do send you a patient and they're new, you can always take the letter you were going to send back about the patient, say, let's start out, bring this, hand deliver this. Say, thanks for sending the patient. It won't take much time, and they'll say, I have never had a doctor bring the letter back over here to me. I guarantee you. No one finds time to do it. Any other questions? I hope that we've given you, yes, sir.
Well, I got a question, but I want to talk to you. I don't think this will be here.
Okay.
Kind of more of a situation.
Okay. We'll have some cards available. Go ahead, Kenny.
I was going to say something just to kind of piggyback off of what he said. I had a group last summer, and we were doing a lunch for this. It's a subspecialty, and they were doing a lunch for a specialty group. And analyzing the referral patterns, it looked like there was only 3 out of the 4 doctors that were sending, and they were sending a large amount, but one doctor had not sent any patients over the whole year. So we brought the 2 doctors over to say thank you, and it turned out the one doctor that wasn't sending any patients, she didn't even know that one of her old friends from medical school was with that practice. So once she found out they were there, that kind of solved that problem, because it was odd. This one doctor had sent 0 patients, and the other 3 were sending. So we took her over there, and they were actually old friends from medical school, and they just haven't spoken, and since they went their respective ways. But it increased the referrals greatly, because again, they were old friends. They just she'd been sent into another group and didn't even know she was in Memphis.
It's not unusual to find things like that.
Yeah, it was just kind of interesting, because I'm sitting here looking at their referral patterns. I'm saying, I wonder if something bad has happened where this one doctor in our group has not sent any patients to him. Well, it just turns out she didn't know her old buddy was there. So it worked out very well. That was $120 lunch well spent.
Right.
And they'll vouch for that.
Like I said, I know we've thrown a lot of stuff at you in a short period of time. Again, I'm going to summarize one more time. If you just get a few patients a month intentionally, good paying patients, you saw the numbers on there. You can run your own spreadsheet. It's huge. It's huge. So everybody's how much they're cutting money and patients aren't paying, and all the negative things that happen in a practice on a daily basis. I mean, it's not a lot of good news. Well, you can change that. You can change it. Good paying patients, getting them in the practice, and that's what you want to do anyway. Practice medicine. Get them in there. Ones that are good in paying, and the numbers will come. They'll take care of themselves. They'll take you out of this dark place that the industry is putting us in. I mean, it's just something every week. And we deal with it, this week it's the ACOs, and next week, still have the Medicare cuts to deal with. It's always something like that. Well, what we do is show more good paying patients, take care of that stuff. We don't know another way to do it, but it works. It worked for you. Like I said, you've got the formulas, got all the secrets here, and you can, common sense prevails. People want good physicians, and they want to feel good about referring in. That's a secret. Not that hard, is it?
All right. Well, thank you so much,
Thank you.
Alan. Thank you, Kenny, for
Our
presenting
pleasure.
for us, and I learned a lot.
You do too.
Yeah, it's not that hard, is it? I hope y'all do it. I hope you'll do it and achieve greater success. I mean, you need the money. I'm not telling y'all anything you don't know already. But thank you again for coming. We appreciate it. We're available through the academy if you have any questions, or if you want the CD and another workbook, we'll send it to you, because we made this for y'all. Okay?
Do we need to keep any of those examples, or can they keep them?
They can keep
Okay,
these.
I didn't know if it had.
Yeah, we have permission.
Okay.
We have this master book. Somewhere, we have a master plan. When we go into a practice, a lot of physicians, they don't want to do advertising. They think that, so we have to find other ways to create that attraction. And we have a thing called a master plan that we give them, and we let them choose. Okay, here are all the things that we know of to do, and there's over 100 items on there. These are things that we know that have been successful. You tell us which ones you want to do, and prioritize them. And that's what we do. But we know when we give it to them, we know it's already going to work. So it's personalized. And then we did bring an example book too. It has, I don't know where it is.
It's right there.
Anybody wants to look at that, see some of the things, more tricks of the trade, so to speak, that we do and use, that y'all can use in your practices. Thank you again. I know y'all ready to get home.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Maybe we'll do the first season we can do. For our
That's some over here.
number 4, I think I want to do it. That would make, because we could just.
I think I recognize. Are y'all
Yes.
I recognize.
Well, my take is anyway.
You're good. Y'all are. I'm Kenny.
I will.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Thanks for coming.
Y'all remember something?
Just wanted to.
Yeah, so
Thanks for
Southern Hills, that's right. I think I've spoken with
I hope you got something to make some money.
Yeah, I do. It's awesome.
Oh, Crystal?
He's our chairman.
Okay, I think I had spoken with her before.
I
I just seen her, I'd seen her out of so yeah, here's my card. I'm moving.
But I did fellowship now, and now it's my Augusta. Pretty happy with this. We really love it here.
Is it the same for our
This is me. Yeah, that's kind of I'm here right now. I'm kind of transition moving, so I'm here this week. I'm step 2. I've got to leave it so I find a warm because it's kind of weird, transition. I'm here tomorrow.
If we get more phone calls at home, like that Aunt Susie's gonna have a knee done, who's good? We get something, we probably get 3 or 4 phone
We
calls.
appreciate y'all coming.
And I know where she goes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially the nurse.
I have a nurse practitioner friend, I've already called her about an issue. Don't worry, we're
Thank you so much. Nice to meet you.
Thanks,
Thanks for coming. It's good to see you back. That'd be great. I would appreciate it. I really do. I'm ready to do that.
Yeah.
And hopefully that'll be worthwhile too.
Yeah, it's,
Thanks.
I think I had 2 other new fellows, which is a little different. It's, I still think you can practice good medicine and make a living, and I'm just really blessed with what I consider no kid for all I need to use.
You guys take the bone rap. You're special.
I mean, what?
You've got
Well, it's
so
just
many.
really ugly out
You've
there.
got so many people who aren't specialists. you know, saying they do what you do.
Yeah,
And they don't.
that's just started in the past 2 or 3 years. Again, I think it's people trying to find those
Open
ancillary
hours.
services other than their core practice.
Mhm.
Gee, you know, I bet I could do that.
Well, pain management in particular,
Pretty dangerous.
the world dangerous.
And you, and
There's,
then,
you know, it's just, there's a lot of, I hear from all sorts of patients, like, oh, my other son was just in a place, you wait 2 hours, you get $200, and you get your script, and you just walk out.
It's like one in California.
I was like.
You waited an hour, you get some pot on your way home.
But half the time, I don't, like, wait, it's narcotics, but anyway.
Well, probably not, I wouldn't know, I don't
So
know.
with this, yeah, I'm not really happy.
I'm not sure.
Just medicine, and I really didn't take my branch.
When we were walking on Venice Beach,
They've got about 80%.
we got 3 different people stopped us and said, I guarantee I'll give you a
They
prescription.
started
I don't even know me.
Yeah.
How does it mean you guarantee something's wrong with me enough that I can talk? They go,
narcotics.
it's guaranteed.
And,
I'm sure it is.
I'm very special. I'm like only neurologist with famous hearing.
Well, I'll tell you.
State, I don't know.
How come?
There's only 250 of us.
Our money
in the
guy?
country. I really
You go to the other night?
on my own.
He was telling me.
I have a non-solicitation.
Officers house in other states. There's 5 different kinds.
That's fine.
Against
Just
you.
get out of here. Everything's
I go, they deliver. You don't want to
What I want
legalize
is-
anything, they won't
you
deliver
said
if
you
it's
were
legal.
working, right? You ever done
You
with
think
that?
it's
Or there
fantastic?
was around there?
around the
I
non-compete.
go, well, I'm so glad you're managing your money.
He's got me at 35.
He goes, I do that
He's
for your
very laid
dad.
back.
It's the
about it.
solicitation part.
Solicitation.
He goes, I do that.
That's good wrestling.
Yeah.
If they quit, whatever, look, what I don't, what I can't, from my
Yeah.
wife, said, well, I don't know. He says, don't.
It was an awkward conversation.
I don't know.
Thanks for
Well, I think that would be your out
What?
of it is that you have no way to know who the
So do I ask her for this
Someone
one?
else.
No, you don't want to know.
She's the one.
Because if you don't know, how can you be soliciting known doctors? You probably know in your mind,
She works for Dr.
what types
Jancy,
of doctors
who
would
does,
refer.
who did my MDO stuff, he's like,
You know who they would.
and he's the guru at
I would
St.
never
Thomas,
touch that list.
I'm
thinking,
he's
you
at,
have to check with the attorney
Centennial.
or the.
He's like the
academy
guru
might
of,
help you with this. I'm running through their
ultrasound
attorney,
and high risk.
but, you know, court of our peers,
He's-
they say, this man left,
With both my
he's
kids.
soliciting our customers, he has no solicitation. I have no way
She
of knowing
manages like
who your referrers are.
But he's the guy.
I mean, essentially.
You
he's
can't
probably
keep
got
me from making a
referrals.
living.
Yeah.
You know, I know who the doctors are, I have a phone book, a yellow page. I have the same information available with you, and you, and you, and you, and you. And those are the ones that I am
with me because I need a
soliciting
dermatologist.
to. I don't know if they're one of your doctors or not, you never can.
And there's always a good shot that we're gonna have a dermatologist here, so I
I
just
think
brought
I'm
him
arguing
here.
that.
Yeah. I said,
I don't know.
It says, I mean, obviously, you can't do if you do general solicitation, you write a thing in a paper. That gets out there, right? If things are coming,
Do it.
I make a diagnosis of some kind of like nervous, I send him the patient, all of a sudden that starts the contact, right? I'm not
No, we
asking
know.
him for
They
me,
want
for
that.
him.
It's an attraction.
But it's a kind of tit for tat, right?
Yeah.
At that point, so then we can kind of do discussions, like, go there with my, never mind.
No,
Wrong.
That type of-
Rachel
That's
has a,
fair.
has a
Thank
voting
you.
person for me,
It's, I think as long as you stay away from that list, you're good.
but she wants.
I think you do.
Is that quite frankly, I mean, he's probably, I mean, this which has been around for a while. They probably have some referral from everybody in the state, which is basically exempt anybody.
Because
Yeah.
the son is the.
Which I, which I think Tennessee is a right to work state, so you
It
can't
is.
really do that.
Yeah, you have a right to make a living,
Yeah.
even if you had a contract that was unfair to keep you from making a living, then
Not until
the
it was the same
bottom line is you're keeping me from making a living.
Oh, the,
You can't
what are
do
you
that.
talking about? Last week?
That would be my non-lawyer answer.
Yeah.
I'd get it answered by someone probably from the academy. But use this stuff, you know, company authority. And when they think of, you know, pain management, that's like $14. You would know better than
Here's
he
my thing, is, like, I love some of these things. I mean, my own,
He was gonna
today I
do
get a
shit
couple
flu,
of referrals, my own guys, 'cause
I was here.
There's a patient-
I was here,
They
that
said
Myrtle.
Yeah.
You know, if you, this patient's
Are we
got all
canceling?
left,
I go,
you know,
"For
listen,
what?"
this is ridiculous.
It's
Tell
raining.
them the levels.
He goes, it's a storm, I said, of course.
But I'm, you know.
And then I was like, I hope
But
so.
at 9 o'clock it was
It
actually.
was, it's a tornado, I mean.
I do headaches too.
It was bad. It was.
And that would be awesome to have a little thing on there saying.
We will reset. But it works for the, I mean,
Present it to the
you know,
PR.
and when I send it out,
Right?
Thank you.
No one wants to be like.
Hey,
The lady from Vanderbilt.
Once they say, oh, Dr. Schneider, right?
Called
I bet the on-call
Sternberg, who was
Well, Dr.
from
Schneider's
Vanderbilt.
patients here, what do you
was
want us to
Winter,
do?
you're, you know, it's
I
perfect.
thought that
His
was
secretary
awesome.
goes, I already know it's canceled.
Patient
Casey
watch.
already
These
told
are the
me.
medications I'm on.
Leave me alone.
Yeah, I mean.
So it was good. I feel
My
like.
grandmother carries that around.
Yeah, no one ever cares, like, what do you mean you can't?
They'd love to hear about it.
I said, I don't think you'll have
Is
this
that
program.
like a weekly thing that guys do?
Ooh, what you got?
And we put look outside newspapers that even if they charge, $125.
Yeah.
You know, and
You get lines.
you get a lot of space. Well, the main thing is it's not an ad at all. It is, but it isn't. You're now the authority on a particular subject. And as you write more, you know, what you try to do is find, okay, what's the biggest question my patient base is concerned
That's
with?
right, Diane Rice or
You know,
Bonnie.
why does the front of my head hurt? And it says, I
Send
don't
me
know what
an
it
email
is.
and
but
I'll forward
it
it
explains
to them with you.
Sometimes with this, the front of your head will hurt more than the back. And
They
boy,
know,
they'll
yeah.
zone in on that, and you're the guy.
Yeah,
You're the guy. And you know, other
That
doctors
makes
see that
sense.
stuff.
I love that.
You know, the nurses.
I bet Baker will be all for it.
I'm telling you, they come from out of the woodworks. People want to be the authority. You ask me a question, I want to give you a good answer. That's just human nature. Well, I read it, you know, this guy.
It would have
Your
zero, it would have a
I
positive
know.
Well, they
effect.
go opioid credit card.
Because if you
Like you said, I guess people don't know how, man.
That was kind of sneaky, wasn't it? It worked. And the doctor, you know, the doctors,
It's
didn't
not
know
our
I did it.
job.
My doctors didn't know I
we
did
just
it.
have to get the
I said,
house
what is
to
this?
pass it and then it's scary
How
stuff.
did you get all these
Decide.
doctors to put our logo on their coat?
House of Delegates pass
This
it.
card?
And then it
And they
becomes
just
on that,
cracked up.
then it
They
becomes
cracked up.
the committee,
I said,
your
"Man,
committee that you're
don't-
on.
I'll
has
never
to
make
deal
you
with it,
mad.
because
Don't
the
tell
house
what you'll
believes
do, you know, and they just.
And the committee has to take it on.
Gosh,
That's how you,
every-
that's
not
how
every
Bill
doctor, but
becomes.
everybody
a law.
down in the bowels had one. of
The
these.
house says they
And
have to,
they're
they have to.
walking around with somebody else's logo, it's bigger than their own.
I think it's a great one.
But those psychologists.
I love it.
are
I can't
just-
imagine
I don't
anyone having
even
a
know
problem
how
with
much money they made off that.
Was the what?
The call sheet.
The referral sheet?
No, well, that too, that's
Right.
that's probably the biggest.
Who cares about
But the
that?
one that tells when they're on call.
I see.
These guys and gals are down in there, and I mean, you know, I see you, and something comes up, they're screaming, they're in code. And they code them in there, and they're trying to figure out what to do. They want something quick.
All right, thank
and
you.
easy. Well, that call sheet is in the same spot every month, it's been there 15
You taking
years.
food home?
And
Oh, your
if we don't
codes.
get down there fast enough to deliver them, they call upstairs to the office. Where's our call sheets? So they get it.
We had two separate
That
things.
seems
He
sweet.
was like, yeah, we had two separate
There,
things.
you take one over there.
One was
Yes.
our, hey, Kat,
Right
come here,
next to
bud.
you.
Here's-
They
you want
call
some food?
and yell if we don't get there in time.
Okay. We have to go to a nutrition.
Awesome idea.
Right. I hope you can use something, call us sometime, you got a card, you want
Here's
some
if he is or not.
good free advice or whatever, you get serious about it, want to do it,
She's
well.
gonna tell, I was like, she's gonna have us feed it when she sees no.
I don't know where you are, got dinner
Just
ready.
pick up here. Kids all day.
Yeah,
We
get
can't be
a
helpful.
fork.
Well, yeah, can he take some of that food? Are you guys hungry?
I don't think I need.
No, we're fine, take this dinner?
This is not dinner, it's just a snack.
He's a growing boy.
Could be,
Mark,
just
is he president this year?
Chairman. Wait, no, chairman.
Correct, chairman.
He's already been the president. He's moved up to.
We've got president-elect, president, and chairman. So you're.
Basically, you never get out once you're.
Hotel California.
Yeah, and usually that works for our advantage.
Yeah.
Not your advantage, but our advantage. We like it.
Well, we appreciate you guys letting us come in and tell us. Like I said, we created, we've never told this story before. I mean, it's usually in pieces or whatever.
Right.
This is the whole thing, you know. So we hope it helped some of the folks and maybe you too.
Sure.
You know, everybody needs some more money.
Spread around the word,
Thank you. Appreciate it.
spread around. Thanks. I'll do it. Might get some points.
Yeah, we should. Maybe we'll take your wife today.
Yeah.
I need to
Very
know a
nice.
couple
Thanks
questions.
a lot.
Good luck.
Yeah,
If we help, give us a call.
I will.
I've got a.
Dr. Schneider, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, man.
You too.
I'll talk to you soon.
And what, do you have a specialty, a corner or a back or?
It's fine.
Fine.
Yeah, that's pretty fine. Open your interview.
hope I don't either. But, man, I'm glad you're here, because that is a real difficult deal. People get, it's not good. And we're glad to know you too, because eventually they'll start asking us here, who's this, who's that, as we make our rounds and all that stuff. So we like to know the good docs. We don't want some, yeah. And I had heard that before. We did some work up here a few years ago, and I'd heard your name, that you were good.
Not the program.
No, it kind of shoots you out. It was a competitor of yours told me that you were good.
Oh, really?
You want to know who it was? Sure. I'll tell you the name of the group. It was DOA,
No.
one of their doctors. And I overheard him talking to someone.
That's a big surprise.
Yeah, and it was to me too, because I said, I don't see him on your list. He said, but that's who I was going to be with.
That's a
So,
nice surprise.
yeah, sure was. So, evidently you do good work because if, like I said, a competitor, the place is so big, it's not like they're a tight-knit group anyway. Half of them don't know each other. Half of them are, in another
That's true.
county and all that stuff.
They've got people in the Clarksville now.
Yeah, they're all over the place.
They've got the group in truck practice.
Yeah. Well,
Thank you,
okay.
guys. I think that was great.
Well, good. Like I said, I hope it was informative. We ran through a lot of stuff quick, but
Yeah, it was.
No, but to have it, yeah.
Good example. I like your example. You're very good.
I appreciate that. We have hundreds of those things, but, the thing is just doing little stuff like that. If you keep doing it, those numbers are real. I mean, we didn't make that spreadsheet up. We find that every practice that we deal with, they far exceed that. When we tell them the number, they're sure. But they always go, 5, 6, 7, sometimes 10% per year.
That's any crystal ball predictions about how to do it? The ACOs, which is another word for capitation.
Yeah. Well, it hasn't exactly happened yet. You were here when managed care was a cool thing to do. You saw how that turned out.
Yeah.
I'm thinking this might be the same thing if the legislators will get behind it. So the word to the wise, I guess that's what you're asking, is keep on doing the stuff like all this junk around you not happening. Keep attracting new patients, keep doing a good job, and all things good will happen. Or I'll see you at Walmart, because we'll be here right next week.